Good morning. How are ya? It is 8:02. It's a couple of seconds late. Traffic. But here we are. We're doing the coffee talk thing. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. Here with you on a beautiful start. I've got myself situated. I'm doing the science of it, which is a segment that we air on Wesh 2 Sunrise. I believe it's on Mondays on CW18, and then of course on the weekends. From the Science Center, it's a segment where we talk about the science of it, different little things. Today we've got some neat stuff to tape, and that will air on I assume starting next week. So anyway, doing that, but we're also doing the science stuff today in terms of coffee talk. Here's a live look outside on our tower camp. Look how pretty that is. Gorgeous start to the day. New Smyrna Beach. There's the Ponce Inlet. There is some areas of fog, nothing too significant, but did just get an update from the National Weather Service that they're monitoring it. So do want to at least point it out. Here's a look at the visibility numbers around town. Wide shot first, and you can kind of see around Wildwood. What the Weather Service said is essentially parts of Lake County. Areas of fog have formed there. So nothing significant, but just one of those things that as you start your morning, want to make sure you're aware of. All right. All right, here's a live look in on our first warning, Doppler radar. Nothing going on there. It's a nice clean sweep. Gotta love that. Temperatures out the door, low to mid 70s. It is a nice toasty start to the day. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful, but it's a nice toasty start. And from there, we'll climb these temperatures. 79 degrees, working to 86 by 11 a.m. We'll continue to about 90 degrees by 1 p.m. and 95 degrees, our 3 o'clock temperature. So it's going to be a warm one. We'll be okay. We can handle it. You can handle that. It's just one of those things we have to be ready for. The heat, the heat is on, right? So 95 today. I will also add that we're not expecting, necessarily getting to like record levels like we have the last couple days in spots. Oh, that's a weird. That's weird. Hold on. Oh, hold on. That's weird. Okay. I'm like, why did that get weird? Okay. All right. I'm like messing with the camera and I'm like, well, that's weird. That's so weird. There we go. Okay. I don't know. I'm just trying to mess with the camera. I was trying to get it to look a little bit better for you. All right. Anyway, so that's where we're at today. Let me dial up the temperatures for us. There you are. All right. So here's a look at today's high temperatures today. 95 in Orlando, 93 degrees in Claremont, expecting 91 in Ocala along the East Coast, 93 in New Smyrna Beach, 94 degrees Daytona Beach. So it's going to be a nice and warm day. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about that. Not as hot though as yesterday. Yesterday's highs. Let's talk a little bit about yesterday. Good gravy. Was it a hot day? It was a hot day. Let me find the button. Hold on. That's yesterday. Wait, that's today. What's yesterday? Yesterday's record highs versus. Okay. So let me just make sure that this is not overwritten before we dive into it. Hold on. Bear with me. I was driving. I didn't prepare for coffee talk today and eyeball things because I was driving. All right, perfect. So that's good. All right. So here's the numbers from yesterday. First off, Orlando hit 95 yesterday. Not the hottest day of the year, but it was still toasty, right? Record was 96. Okay. Sanford hit 96. Record was 95. New record there. Leesburg tied a record of 95. Daytona Beach fell just short. Melbourne fell just short. So yesterday was a blasted hot day, right? So then let's look at the same graphic, but looking ahead to today. Okay. All right. Forecast high on the left, record on the right. Orlando, 95, not expecting a record, which was set back in 1908 of 98 degrees. Sanford, 95, record is 100. Thank goodness we're not going to do that. Leesburg, no record. Daytona Beach, no record. Melbourne, no record. So it's going to be hot But no, we're not talking about records, thankfully, today. Let's look at the 7 day forecast and just kind of dial into where we're at. Okay. Inland spots, here you go. 95 today. Not as hot tomorrow. 90 degrees, even a few showers. If you're heading to the opening day of Epic Universe, you're going to be flipping fine. I've had so many people that are like, oh my God, are we going to be okay? There's rain in the forecast on the opening day of Epic. And it's like, yeah, you're going to be okay. Of course, you're going to be okay. Right? Like, you're going to be okay. Yeah, so we've got a couple of showers there. Friday, a few additional showers. Saturday, Sunday, that heat starts to build. And then notice Memorial Day, Monday, the unofficial start of summer, 50% coverage of showers and storms. Tuesday, 50% coverage of showers and storms. Looks like that rainy season again is wanting to kick in. So there you go. All right. There you go. All right. So that's kind of where we're at, my friends. That's the inland spot. Let's look at the coastal 7 day forecast. All right. I don't know if the Memorial Day icon. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So here's your coastal 7 day forecast. Notice, obviously, the forecast carries more storms inland than along the coast, but we do still have that opportunity to see some rains along the coast, right? So there you go, right? Upper 80s, lower 90s, storm chances definitely rising. All right, so that's kind of where we're at, my friends. It's been a little while since we've seen some decent rainfall. Could use a little bit of rainfall for Central Florida. Threat for stronger storms definitely north of us today, right? Areas highlighted in green having a level 1 out of 5 risk for isolated strong to severe storms. So nothing significant, right? So that's for today. Let's look at Futurecast. Let's dial up the rain chances again, and I'll pop up the 7 day forecast one more time just for proof positive here. Not looking at rain today. Tomorrow into Friday, definitely starting to see a bit of a pattern change. So let's look at that. And then after Futurecast, I will stop running my mouth and we can talk. All right. So here we go. Today looking good. You can see the green on the very top of the screen there. A little bit of rain to deal with north of us. If you live in Ocala, like, I can't rule out the idea that you may hear some rumbles of thunder. You know what I mean? You're gonna be okay. I mean, it is what it is. But you may have some stormier weather to hear off in the distance. That's fine. You can handle that. I can handle that. We can handle that. Not a huge concern, right? All right. Let's continue through time and just kind of see how we get there. So for now, we're looking good. Continuing through time, that kind of fades before it moves into our area. Could we see a little bit of rain trying to sneak in tonight, like late around Ocala? Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Not a huge concern, but it's there. All right, continuing. Tomorrow morning, look how pretty that is, right? But notice by as early as 9:30, could see a little bit of rain around. Okay, that also means, my friends that are heading to Epic, like, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. We can deal with a little bit of rainfall. You're gonna be okay, right? You're gonna be okay. So there's that little bit of rainfall, something to watch. Kind of clears out. And then for the rest of the day, look how nice that is. Thursday looking great. Friday, let's go to Friday. Starting off beautifully. 11-12. That front that's south of us may try to help sparking up some rain. Doesn't look like Futurecast is picking up on a significant amount of us, a significant amount for us, but just the pattern recognition of it. Just the pattern recognition of it. Okay. Just the pattern recognition of it is showing that old front moves, clears out, right? And then as it kind of just sits and dies over South Florida, could start to see a bit of a better opportunity for rain on Friday. Then looking ahead, okay, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the rainy season kind of wants to kick back in. We're at the time of year where we have to just see how this plays in, right? That's kind of where we end up. When does it eventually do its thing? Okay, so rainy season is, what is it? May 27th, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So it's 6 days. I've got the graphic up, but it's old. So hold on, let me fix that. It says 7. I'll fix it. Hold on. Making the sausage. Stand by. And then once I get this done, I promise I will stop talking and I can start answering questions. And then, of course, we can check tropics and do all that fun stuff. All right, so wet season. There you go. Fixed graphic. 6 days. So 6 days away from the average. Remember, it's not a spot on the calendar. Okay. All right. William keeps saying you're fading in and out. I got it. I'm in my car, William. I'm doing the best I can, buddy. Sorry. I understand that there's maybe not something perfect about my connectivity. Doing the best I can. Take me or leave me. It is what it is. Lori, why are you in the car? I feel like I do a bunch of coffee talks in the car. Today I'm at the Orlando Science Center, so there's that. There's always something going on. All right. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. And with that, I'll also show the 7-day forecasts. We'll start with the inland one again, and then we can go back. I already showed the inland one. I already showed the coast, but we can go back to it. So anyway, there's our inland 7-day forecasts. Sonia says you were fine to me. Thank you. Courtney says planning to come down next week. Looks like I picked the wrong week. Listen, I would simply say summertime from about May to like October-ish. This is just the way you are in Florida. You can handle some storms in the afternoon. It's fine. Frankie says the stream's been fine for me. All right, so it's not even on my end. There you go. All right. Oh, very good. Diane says you're fine to me too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So there's our inland 7-day forecast. Here is our coastal 7-day forecast, showing opportunities of rain for both chunks of our area. Never a bad thing. Troy. Yesterday, my brother bought a new house and is closing on the 23rd. And I told him to go look at Eric's forecast. I went and looked, and June 23rd was a return date. Can't have any named storms for closing. Made me laugh. Well, we hope we don't have. I mean, look, I did a talk to the Chamber of Commerce to one of the Chamber of Commerce over in Seminole County, and we were talking about the return dates. And I'm like, it doesn't mean you're going to get a hurricane each time. It's just those are parts of the pattern that I think will give tropical systems eventually, or those are the parts of the pattern that favor it, right? So, yeah, that's just the way that goes. And to that point, talking about the tropics, 11 days. Can you believe that? Can you flipping believe that? We are 11 days. I was speaking to Jeremy yesterday, but I never formally asked him to do coffee talk on Friday. I probably should do that. Probably should do that. I'll get to that. My apologies. More rain here in Marietta. Looks like the tropics are ramping up early, Julie says. Well, okay, so let's first, before we talk about the Atlantic at all, let's look at the tropical satellite for Central America and the Pacific. Now, it's important to know the Pacific hurricane season starts early compared to the Atlantic hurricane season, okay? It's important to know that. So, there is an area of interest in the Pacific. An area of low pressure could form, 30% likelihood of development. I'm not talking about this to hype anything. I'm talking about this just because I've seen a bunch of people asking about Alvin and all these things. The tropics in the Pacific are the Pacific. We watch the Atlantic basin. Okay, so this is not going to be a thing for us. You almost always get more activity in the Pacific before you get activity in the Atlantic because the Pacific's hurricane season starts differently. Okay. In the Atlantic basin, where you and I live, you and I track the tropics, there is right there at the center of the screen the first tropical wave of the season. Talked about this yesterday. South of the Cabo Verde Islands, not expected to develop. It's too cool in the Atlantic basin. Remember, during early hurricane season, we're not even in hurricane season yet, but during early hurricane season, it's typically the Gulf and the Caribbean that bubble up because those are the areas that are able to warm up. The Atlantic usually takes a while. So let's just look at where we develop things. June is the start of hurricane season. This is where things typically form during the month of June. The Gulf, the Caribbean, right? Look at July. Now we start opening up more of the Caribbean and even parts of the Southwest Atlantic. All right, August. Now you're looking at the August is when that Atlantic basin really opens up. September, peak of hurricane season. Yep. And then October, as things start to cool down, you start watching more just areas around. And then November, the very end of hurricane season, you're typically watching the Caribbean because that's where those water temperatures are the warmest. And people are talking about Alvin, but it's important to note Alvin is not one of the names in the Atlantic basin. Hence, that would be a Pacific system. Hence, that odds are is not going to threaten us. Hence, just calm down. Okay? Right? So that's where we're at. There are going to be people that are going to be talking about that graphic didn't look right. What graphic didn't look right? Mike, what graphic didn't look right? I don't get why one of our local meteorologists are talking about Alvin. I don't know. I am a firm believer in earning trust and keeping trust, and I'm always going to be here to talk to you about the real stuff. And that's why I love this, because during Coffee Talk, it's a two-way street. You ask questions, I hopefully can answer the questions. You know, but no, there's nothing that's developing in the Atlantic basin. My brother Frank says clicks. I hate that crap. Look, we've got roughly 500 people watching Coffee Talk this morning. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm never going to do anything just to try and get there to be 1,000 people, 2,000, 10,000 people, right? Um, I hope that I can serve you all, and I hope that I can teach you all. Oh, I see what you're saying, Mike. Got it. I'm like the data. So I find that when it comes to tropics, people, yes, they like the clicks. It's also very detrimental to people's anxiety to do that crap. And that's why you're not going to have that from me. I always say it's easy to earn trust, super hard to keep it. So that's going to be my goal for our relationship. Okay, just so that that's my strategy here. Just so you know, born and raised in Central Florida, I got into weather. For anybody that's new, and it's not like we've got like a stupid high audience compared to normal. So I'm sure most of you all are like the norms. I got into weather because I had high weather anxiety. So why in God's name would I ever try to add to that for anybody else? The whole purpose of me in this career is to calm storm anxiety. So that's where we're at. All right. All right. So, anyway, nothing going on in the tropics at the moment that we need to concern ourselves with. Let's look outside at the computer models, though, and let's see what they are trying to hint. All right. This is the raw GFS model. Okay. Julie says, we appreciate you. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. Listening politely. I get you. Very good, Jeannie Rowan. All right. So, there's that little front coming through on Thursday, kind of hanging out over South Florida. You know, maybe trying to start up that rainy season. Nothing wrong with that. All right. High pressure. Ba, 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 ba. It's going to get hot again next week. Ba, 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 ba. Little weakish front there on the 30th. The first few days in June is where things could get interesting. GFS isn't showing it anymore. But around the 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere in there, that's when the slow Gulf low part of the pattern cycles. It'll be interesting to see. Amy says, or is asking, has it helped? I could see having more anxiety wanting to warn family, but not wanting to hype. I feel like absolutely knowledge is power for me or for anybody. And so I try to give you all that knowledge so that you can calm your anxiety. For me, it has absolutely helped me, right? Kind of like the same thing, look, I was afraid to fly in an airplane, so I learned to fly. Now I get it, right? Same thing when it comes, like, I was afraid to drown, so I learned to scuba dive. I think the more you understand stuff, the more you understand stuff. So yeah. I think it's helped. Tanya says anxiety. Did you say anxiety? I feel some kicking up. That's not good. Crystal over on YouTube. I always say you are my calm in the storm. Thank you, Crystal. Listen, that's what I want, and that I hope I can always offer it. All right. All right. That's the GFS. Let's look over at the European. And again, this is raw model data. Obviously, it's not like TV beautiful, but raw data. We can raw it. High pressure. For coffee talk, it doesn't need to be all super beautiful. This is the data we look at too. Look at you. Old front, little piece of energy there on the 30th. It wouldn't surprise me. Around the first. See, that's early, but the euro is starting to sniff out the slow Gulf low. That doesn't surprise me. The GFS has lost it. The euro has brought it back. Again, it's a little early, but that's the part of the pattern that's coming up, the slow Gulf low. What about the euro AI? High pressure. It's going to be hot. A little low rolling off the coast. Again, that's a little early, but the slow Gulf low part of the pattern. Isn't that something? It's showing up on the euro and the euro AI. So it'll be interesting. I always say it'll be interesting to see how that plays. Doing the long range forecasting, there's a certain element of pattern recognition that plays in there. So yeah. All right, back to your questions, comments, concerns. The rain in the afternoon used to come like clockwork and cool things down a smidge. Doesn't seem to work like that way anymore. So Jeannie, I thought the same thing. I went to look. It does not seem like it's that dramatically different, just in the data. Steph says, not liking that at the beginning of June. That's when we go to the Keys. It shouldn't develop into anything too strong. I don't think so. Jamie Lopez, been watching you since the beginning. You have definitely helped my family. Thank you. I hope, Jamie, you have grown. I know I have grown. Hopefully we can all, do our thing, grow together. Um, Troy says, I like the raw data better compared to the ones on TV. TV is low resolution. It's not even low resolution. It's just like cleaned up and made to look a little prettier. Raw data is raw data. It's complicated. It's granular. But for what we're doing here, it's perfect. You know what I mean? It's what we need. See, teacher, you taught us well. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Diane's asking, when does the Saharan dust factor kick in? Is there a typical season or cycle for that? I haven't checked it, to be honest. Let's do that. Yeah, but as far as the data goes, to be honest with you, it's not that the data is low resolution at all. I think the data is just as high resolution. We just clean it up. We smoothen it. I mean, the Saharan air layer is there. It's already crossing the Atlantic and getting into the Caribbean. It just hasn't made it to Florida, but that's definitely there. Yeah. The more you understand stuff, the more you understand stuff. Eric Burris. Oh my God. Did you ever see the Jerry Seinfeld sketch where he's like, if you use the same word twice in a sentence, it always works? Like, Florida's going to Florida, you know, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Do you ever see that Seinfeld sketch? So funny. Also not wrong though. All right. Lori's asking, did we see the coast? Oh yeah, yeah. I've played the coastal forecast like thrice at this point. but I'll do it just for you again. Nope, that's PM. Hold on. There you go. There's your coastal 7-day forecast. AI had a pretty good run for its first year. It'll be interesting to see how it does going forward. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. William says you're getting gray hair. You need a haircut. Dude, I had a haircut yesterday. 5 years of coffee talk and it just gets better. Hoping the season takes it easy on us. I feel like it's been more than 5 minutes. We've talked about this. I feel like it's almost 10. Like, I feel like we've done coffee talk for 9 years now. Yeah, dust will be dusting. Exactly, Cindy. Oh my gosh, Tanya, that's funny. That's funny. All right, questions, comments, concerns. Looks rather unmoist until Tuesday. Well, that's along the coast. If you look at our inland 7-day forecast, there are better opportunities, we'll say, for some rainfall there. Yeah. Mickey says, patiently waiting on those new graphics. Don't hold your breath for a while. We're still sitting, spinning our wheels for a little while. Cindy, you were on in 2016. I thought 2016 was the year we fired up this machine. I thought so. Yeah, Luca's been watching since the start. Man, most of the coffee talks when I started had like 10 people. Those were different than they are today. I feel like today we're just much better. I feel like this is definitely a more fun atmosphere, we'll say. I very rarely watch weather on TV. I just watch Eric and my radar. And my knee is a good indicator. See, there you go. Look at that. It's been more than 5 years. You're right. I believe since Irma. It was before Irma. I thought it was Matt. If memory serves, I started doing this around Matthew. Yeah. Frank was one of them. Yeah, you've been around since the beginning, Frank. That's for sure. Yep. Man, oh man. Look at how we grow. Look at how we grow. I've been around pretty much from the beginning. Y'all, thank you. And even, look, even if you've not been around since the beginning, I'm grateful for your trust. I will always fight hard to keep your trust. And as tropical stuff pops, we'll track it together and it will be no hype. That I can promise you. You know, Mickey says, very polished and fun weathercast that I love to watch almost every morning. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tanya says, Coffee Talk is the highlight of my mornings. I always look forward to this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Me too. I do too. And on a day like today where I don't want to say I'm like caught with my, caught without a jacket or what have you. We roll through it together. We look at the model data together. I was driving basically all morning. Lori says, so looking forward to the rainy season. I know. Don says, heck, we remember the boys being born, right? Mike says, work had me take a hiatus here. Does my time served reset? No. And honest to goodness, also, like, the reality is, I don't care if you've been here for forever or not. I appreciate it, but it's not going to prioritize anybody. So, no, your time doesn't reset. But honestly, I still love you, even if you were just showing up today. Justine says, I found you when my son was a freshman at UCF. Now he's graduated. But my husband, but I'm hooked and won't be going anywhere. Thank you, Justine. Thank you. Also, go Knights, charge on. Nancy Coffee Time. Well, thank you guys for all of your kindness. Y'all are so positive, and I appreciate that. Gail says, when it gets rough, I listen for your voice. Thank you. I will always try to be that calm voice. I swear to you, that is why I got into this profession, and that's a big dang deal for me. To never hype, to give you data, but to never hype. That is a huge deal for me. Huge deal for me. Thank you, Becca. Thank you. Truthfully. Frank, I love it, buddy. I love it. All right. Time to go tape the science of it. This is my first time here. Who are you again? Yeah, Chris. So I'm a weather nerd, and you entered into a portal here of other weather nerds. Everybody welcome Chris Pierce. This is his first day on Coffee Talk. Oh, man. All right. Love that. All right, thank you all for hanging out, for your positivity. I hope we're gonna enjoy today's sunshine, but I also hope we can get some rain here pretty soon. All right, listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Take care. I'll see y'all later. Sound good? All right.